I'm going to begin this take stating the subject of takeitude, right? We got the subject of the take. Then we will go on a brief, tangented story, and then we will return to the take. So the take is this. Sean, the take in question. I want your opinion of this. After Baldur's Gate 3 launch, I read that developers were upset. Oh no, why? Well, developers, this very nice, generic, all-encompassing word, developers, were concerned that this game has so much content, took so many years to polish it with such exceptional quality, that now these rotten, spoiled gamers are going to put unreasonable expectations on developers. What if I released a modest game with a modest amount of content that was certainly well above average, but just fell quite a ways short of Baldur's Gate 3? Isn't that sad that this game would come out and people would rail against this thing that would have been a 7 or 8 out of 10 in years before, but now that's a 0 because it's not Baldur's Gate 3. This is, by the way, this is an exaggerated statement of the drama that I saw posted on Twitter and some other forums. I even saw some articles written, just like people reacting and quote retweeting. Okay, so that's kind of the subject statement. Oh my gosh, wouldn't it be a concern that a developer would have that Baldur's Gate 3 has so much effort put into it that it would set unreasonable expectations in future things? Let's go on a tangent, shall we? Suppose that I say something that upsets some number of the viewers here in Day9 TV. Now, over the course of a year, it's a few million, so we'll round down to 1 million because I'm so modest, okay? And let's say it really upset, let's say, 1,000 people. And half of those 1,000 people decided to drop a message in chat or to drop a message in Twitter. So that's about 500 people who are messaging me, about half the people that were upset about the thing that I said. So if you say, hey, what percent of a million is 1,000? Well, if it's 1 million, 100,000 people would be 10%. 10,000 people would be 1%. So 1,000 people is 0.1%. And if 500 people of those 1,000 who are upset are interested in sending me a message, my experience, and this has happened to me before, is that I receive a message once or twice a day, every day for a year. Because there's 500 people who are upset. There's 365 days in a year. And my God, what if those people decided to concentrate their upset statements over the course of, say, 3 months? My God, it would feel like when I woke up, when I went live, and before I went to bed, I was getting people sending me these messages about this sort of thing. And there were some times early on in my career when people would be really upset about things. And I mean, I'm a pretty benign human being, so it would often be things like, Sean, you have not covered Zerg in your Day9 dailies enough lately. I just keep seeing Terran and Protoss. Or, you know, there are people who would like upload their replays. Like, for instance, White Raw would always upload all his replays. So it was really easy for me to do White Raw shows if I was in a hurry because I knew that I could go there and get replays. Sean, I think you need to feature other players. I'm really upset about this, right? But what would feel like was happening is that the entire world was upset at me because I would be getting like 20 messages a day about things people were pissed about. And what I actually did is I counted the number of them and how many different people is it and how many people are leaving multiple messages. Because remember, in my fictional example of 500 people being upset, everyone left one message. Maybe some people wanted to leave 5 to 10 messages. I started to count and discovered that often it was like 80 people. And that's it. It's like 80 people leaving some messages. Now, this does not invalidate what those 80 people are saying. That does not invalidate what anyone is saying. I'm not saying it's just 80 people so we can blow them off, right? What I want to point out is that there is a difference between these 80 people who have very valid reasons to be upset, and there's nothing wrong with them voicing that sort of thing, that is very different from all Day9 TV viewers. All Day9 TV viewers. And so, it would not surprise me if there was some poor developer overworked already, and their boss was, raising expectations but not giving them enough resources to achieve those goals. If all of a sudden this amazing work of art comes out, Baldur's Gate 3, and someone would play it and go, oh my god, my boss is absolutely going to use this as ammunition to tell me that our work isn't good enough and we need to grind even more hours and so on. Of course, that's completely valid. However, I think the statement that developers are worried about this is total bullshit. I think it's total bullshit. I mean, literally, if you said to me, Sean, I did an interview of 10,000 game devs, and 80% of them were upset that this is going to change player expectations. I don't think anyone... I literally guarantee that you could find me several developers who have that stress. And again, that is a valid, reasonable thing to say, especially in an industry that is famous for overworking its developers and putting unfair expectations from management onto the developers. Of course. But dude, I don't know. I think that straight up, Kraid says, I think the dev, okay, brief tangent, Kraid says, I think that the dev thread on Twitter has been misrepresented. 100% agree. The thread was saying that Baldur's Gate 3 is the result of exceptional circumstances, and if players expect this kind of quality from now on, they will be disappointed with every game, including Larian's next game. The devs hate game thing was added retroactively by the press. They didn't say that. Well, yeah, I think that the point that I am trying to convey is that there's a staggering amount of personal emotion one can feel if they're getting hate on Twitter. Oh my god, everyone on Twitter are so mean, when actually it might just be 80 people, as I was saying before. And similarly, I think that reporting about what people are saying on Twitter, I almost always fully discount, because people are saying blank, and it's actually 4 people are saying blank, and have an accumulated total of 300 likes. I think that the actual problem in the industry is this. Overall, over time, I think that there are more quality games being released over time. I think on average, the quality of games is going up. I also think the average quality of games is not as high. I think that there is a lack of stellar 10 out of 10 games coming out each year. I think that's true. This is my personal opinion. This is my belief. I think there's just simply not enough 10 out of 10 high quality, unbelievable, amazing games that are coming out. And so I think that there's actually an enormous opportunity for people to just make good games. It's an enormous opportunity. I mean, you can't really control a lot of player expectations. You have some control, right? How you market, what you promise, what scope of your project is compared to what your budget is. You have some control. But if you're a game with marketing and you're a 10 out of 10, dude, great. I pretty much guarantee you're going to be fine and sell millions of copies, and it's going to be awesome. All right, that's the end of my rant. Take that, Ed. Cheers.